Increasingly, people are focused on well-being. Well-being has been the buzzword for at least a decade, and yet there are so many different pathways to well-being. People are very curious about what is going to give maximum bang for buck. Plus, so many well-being, quote-unquote, interventions now cost money. What's the best way to boost your well-being? How can you be, quote-unquote, happier and help your kids to get there as well, especially if they're struggling? Today, it's a Doctor's Desk episode on the Happy Families podcast where we unpack the latest meta-analysis, systematic review in the journal Nature, looking at randomized controlled trials of well-being focused interventions. Oh, I just love it when I get to talk science. That's coming up next on the Happy Families podcast. Stay with us. G'day, welcome to the Happy Families podcast. We're Justin and Kylie Coulson. This is Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast. Today, some positive parenting solutions to help boost your well-being. Kylie, you get so excited every time we get to talk science. I get to dive into the latest research. Today, we are really going to kick off a big one published at the start of this year in Nature, which is one of the world's most prestigious journals. A systematic review and network meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials of well-being focused interventions by Laurie Wilkie and colleagues. How exciting does that sound?
I'm so excited.
I know, I can see the goosebumps on your arms as you heard me read out that scientific title. It just sounds so good. Where do you want to start with this one? There's a lot to talk about.
Well, I think the best place to start is at the beginning. What did they do?
Yeah, fair enough. So basically, the best studies are the ones where we do a systematic review. That means we go through all of the research literature. And a meta-analysis, that means that we're literally looking at all of the studies that do this thing. Randomized controlled trials, of course, being the gold standard as well. So these are the very best studies, and it's a whole bunch of them all being analysed. You know how people say, oh, you can get a study to tell you anything. Well, this time we're looking at 183 well-being randomized controlled trials. So it's a big meta-analysis, big synthesis of all the literature, looking at interventions for well-being in adults without diagnosed conditions. Okay, so we're talking about mentally healthy adults.
There's a lot of groups here.
Yep.
Are the randomized studies done in different places at different times with different researchers?
That's exactly right.
Right, okay.
And that's why these are so powerful. Because if one researcher gets a certain effect and they keep on doing these studies and they keep getting that effect, but no one else does, we call that an experimenter expectancy effect. People show up and the experimenter expects something's going to happen, and people it almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Even if they haven't communicated that, there's something that happens there that's really quite strange. But when you get a whole lot of studies from all over the world, from different research labs, looking at the same problem but in slightly different ways, you pull it all together.
Well, you're taking different cultural contrasts in as well, yes?
Yeah, and that's where the power of these big literature syntheses and meta-analyses really plays out. So I'm fascinated by this study because
so how many did you say?
183 trials.
183.
We're talking about close to 23,000 different participants from all over the world in these well-being trials.
So you'd have to believe that there's kind of some truth in here.
Yeah,
we're going to unpack some truth.
That's why we're going to talk about it.
So what were the well-being interventions they actually did?
They had a look at a bunch of them. So all of these studies, they include psychological interventions, something called acceptance and commitment therapy, which is a very popular form of therapy, mindfulness-based interventions, compassion-based interventions. They were looking at the effect of exercise, yoga, educational interventions, nature-based programs, and they even did an analysis of doing an approach where they combined exercise and psychological intervention at the same time. So this is thorough. There's a lot going on.
I haven't read your paper.
No.
And I have not been a participant in any of these. But I would think that based on all of the interventions you're talking about, there's going to be positive outcomes across the board, because whenever we do anything out of the norm to connect with self and to become more aware, it feels like progress.
So the researchers found in all of these randomized controlled trials, the overall effect was when you do anything, it improves your well-being compared with people who aren't doing anything at all.
Yeah. I know from my own personal experience, I can go for a 5K run, which kills me, but I still feel really good for having done it at the other end. Or I can go for a walk down at the beach and I'm not using half the amount of energy, but I still feel better for having done that than sitting on the couch.
After the break, I'm going to go through precisely what they found, because some things do work better than others. But the good news is they all work. And I'm going to talk about the implications of that as well. That's next. Stay with us. We're back. It's the Happy Families podcast. Want to be happier? Want to have higher levels of well-being? The evidence says just do something. Just do something and you'll probably do really well. Kylie, I want to go through these results. They actually do matter and they are quite relevant if people are trying to work out, well, where am I going to get the best bang for buck? So the best way to boost your well-being is to do exercise. But combine that with some kind of psychological intervention. Now, that might be listening to great podcasts. It might be doing some relationship building. It might be meeting with a therapist once a month. But doing something where you're moving your body seems to be the best way to boost well-being, especially when you combine it with some kind of psychological intervention. The next best thing were things like mindfulness, compassion, working on positive psychology kinds of stuff. That's gratitude and optimism and focusing on strengths and all those sorts of things. Yoga and exercise interventions demonstrated moderate, consistent effects. And there was no significant difference between any of those interventions. They all just kind of worked. The one thing that surprised me that didn't work nearly as well as all the other stuff was nature-based interventions. They weren't significantly better than controls in the meta-analysis, which means all the forest bathing or the sitting somewhere quiet and just soaking up nature, that stuff didn't have the same positive outcome.
So were they doing forest bathing and combining that with some kind of psychological...
No, it was purely the nature-based intervention. Yeah, I was
going to say, because I think that the more you understand about yourself, the more you are able to process things better, and the more you're able to appreciate quiet and stillness. If you don't have self-awareness or the tools in your toolkit to help you do those things, then often the silence is actually more noise, if that makes sense, because you've just got so much going on.
Yeah. That default mode network in your brain kicks into high gear and you're like, whoa. That may be part of it, although the researchers argued it was something else.
Okay.
They said that there was a high level of what they call methodological heterogeneity. In other words...
Great.
In other words, the methodology for all the studies was too different and they were studying too many different variables for them to get a really clear and concise measure of what's going on.
That's fair.
So I would actually argue that those kinds of nature-based interventions can and do work.
Yeah.
But they weren't able to study it the way they needed to in here. Having said that, they didn't find it, so we have to report that accurately and appropriately. So what does this mean for us? It basically means that if you would like to increase your well-being,
do something. Just do something.
But do it consistently. Do it, well, if you can't do it every day, do it 5 times a week. And if you can't do it 5 times a week, do it at least 3 times a week. And like you said before, Kylie, whether it's a walk, spending some time in the park, or laying on the trampoline, staring at the clouds, whether it's meditation, whether it's yoga or exercise, or learning about mindfulness, or learning about the psychology of compassion, or meeting with somebody and doing some self-work. It all works. It all works. You've just got to be consistent and do it frequently. That's my very happy news from the doctor's desk today.
When I first started learning about just how to kind of work through my own challenges and create a toolkit that would work for me, I thought that I had to do it every day. That I had to be, kind of that consistent so that it would make a difference. And over time, it wasn't my reality. I'm a mum, I have 6 kids and a grandbaby. You are gone a lot. And so the idea that I would have this heavenly kind of hour or 2 to myself in the mornings before everybody got up, and that I would be able to just have that stillness and have that meditation time and, check-in point was not realistic. But what I found is, as I have become consistent with it, that even if I only do it once or twice a week, the shifts that it helps me in are massive compared to not doing it. And I notice it more when I haven't done it. And I've actually gone to you and just said, I'm falling to pieces.
I just need to do that thing.
I got to go back.
Yeah. Do the thing. Do the thing. It will make you happier. Ideally, it won't add stress to your life. We will link to the article in the show notes. Although, if you're anything like Kylie, you don't need to read the article. You just need to do the thing. I just like reading the articles. That's our Doctor's Desk episode for today. Thanks so much for joining us. The Happy Families podcast will be back tomorrow. It's produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Mim Hammonds provides our admin and other support. If you would like more info to make your family happier, visit happyfamilies.com.au. And a quick reminder, the brand new book, Boys, Building Strong Young Men from the Inside Out, comes out in a couple of weeks' time, 16th of June. That's a Tuesday in 2 and a bit weeks. Can't wait for you to get your hands on it. It is currently on special. If you pre-order it now from booktopia.com.au, check out Boys, Building Strong Young Men from the Inside Out.